Hey, mate, how you going?
Doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. It's good to see you. Thank you for being here as well, taking some time out of your day.
Hey, no problem.
Mate, you got to be excited. Brand new album coming up in March. I believe this is the longest gap between albums as well. How's it finally feel to kind of get new music out into the people's ears?
Yeah, it's the longest one. It feels good to make another album, but I also I actually prefer to have a bigger gap between albums than
Mm,
trying to just pump it out every 2 years. It's just not possible,
yeah.
Um, to just tour, make an album, tour. Then you aren't really making an album. You're just making something to satisfy someone's percentage, if you like.
Yeah, no, that's a good point as well. And I guess how refreshing was it to have a bit of a gap this time around? I know the pandemic kind of forced the gap to kind of be in there, but when you came down to write this album, was the writing process a little bit different, a little bit more relaxed? Could take some more time to flesh these songs out.
I mean, we've been busy the whole time, making content on YouTube and on Twitch.
Yeah.
So that gap made it, we it's how would I say it? It gives you more time to think about things and learn. And I learned a lot from the pandemic about trying to improve my playing, improve just generally trying to get better at what I do. So it feels like even after all this gap, we didn't have enough time to set up this album. It's like we finished it on time-ish, sort of. um, but there's a lot of things that we still want to do and that we're still actually working on for this album, like the music videos and things like that. So we're far from over. Every time I'm delivering a music video, I'm like to the wire. I'm like uploading that video on YouTube pretty much a few hours before it comes out, and the record label always said, "Can you give it to me a week before it comes out?" I just can't say no. That's it. I'll give
Yeah.
it to you a few hours before.
You got to keep them on their heels, keep it interesting for them, make them stress out a little bit too.
Yeah, they can. If I can stay up until 6 in the morning to work on this, I'm sure you guys can work a little bit harder, to get this delivered instead of having a week to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, speaking of the music videos as well, you've done great with the ones coming out so far, all the way back to the Doomsday Party as well. In fact, that was one of the best music videos I've seen you guys pump out in a long time. Probably my favorite since Strangers. Big fan of the way you did Strangers. But whose idea was it? Because seeing you in corpse paint was just hilarious.
Oh, it was Sam wanted. He was thinking of some kind of weird dance thing in some kind of like beat up factory or something like that. And so I was thinking, oh, that's cool. What about futuristic apocalyptic city or something like that? That was the idea. And then I kind of thought, well, you know what? Why don't we make it kind of funny and have these iconic characters of the metal world that outside the metal world people still recognize. So we had the Con, Jonathan Davis, the Adidas look, Abath from Immortal. You see even memes, back then of the kittens and all that kind of weird stuff that we did. Um, for the bass playing, we wanted Dave Ellison for Megadeth on that.
Yep.
And then we got the Viking metal as well, and the Avenged Sevenfold kind of emo metal with the background brides kind of thing. Yeah, this and it's like music can be so divided even in the world of metal. So it's about everyone can just come together and party no matter what style of metal you're into. Who cares?
Exactly. And it's funny you say that. And it's funny how you can make a disco song metal at the same time. Because I listen to this and a couple of times I'm like, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, there's definitely some inspiration by Boney M, I feel, in that song in particular. I don't know why. I hear it and I picture, wow, I wonder what it would sound like if DragonForce did a Boney M cover. Maybe that's just me.
I have to say, I read a lot of comments from people saying about Boney M. I still haven't checked out, and I actually don't know who Boney M is.
Oh,
So
really?
I don't know. I have no idea who Boney M is right now. I have to check it out, Google it, so I actually know what people are saying. But I'm like confused at the moment. What's Boney M? I have no idea.
They're an old German disco band from the 70s. Ma Baker, Rasputin. You'll probably listen to it and go, "I've heard that once before in the past." So but yeah, that's crazy. It's just well, you captured the power of disco and that era without even really knowing the band. So well done. That's impressive. Speaking on the album as well, I love that you guys have kind of embraced the whole video game aspect, because I think DragonForce and video games fans just go hand in hand. I know I discovered you guys from Guitar Hero, and I'm sure a lot of people discovered you guys from Guitar Hero. How was that, looking back at the old Guitar Hero days, because that was just a whole new medium of way to release music to the people, or at least get discovered, that I guess unfortunately doesn't exist anymore. But I don't know, how was that coming up in the Guitar Hero era, if you will?
The Guitar Hero 3 definitely have done a lot of great things to us. And to be honest, way more positive than any negative people want to say about. And it just, how to say, I hear different story as the years have gone past. At the beginning, people talk about, obviously it inspired a lot of people to play the guitar and all that. And now I hear about people having incredible memories from playing that song, or going to DragonForce concert, playing video games with their brother, with their sister, with their parents, and it's just gonna bring some special memories for them. So we're lucky that song is really part of an era, of a lot of people's lives. And now I see fans that come to the show, and it's their first DragonForce show. They like in their 20s, like early 20s, and I go, and they heard that song when they're like 5-6 years old. They were playing that song then. They couldn't go to a show until like now, like in the early 20s. It's kind of funny,
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre, because it feels like it's a whole generational gap almost from Guitar Hero. And to see, and I guess my little brother's the same. He played your song when he was 5-6 years old on that Guitar Hero better than I ever could. But yeah, it's just kind of crazy how that was a whole phenomenon that's just not there anymore. But it did a lot of good for the world of metal, especially for you guys as well. And speaking of the video games, on this album, you've got a Legend of Zelda inspired song. Are you a big fan of the Zelda series yourself?
Yeah. We everyone in the band have played Zelda, obviously.
Yes.
So from the new stuff to the old stuff. That song, since it's called Power the Triforce, and I'll show you what a nerd I am in Zelda, is obviously more about the old games, because the new games, the Triforce is like a distant past. They don't even know it ever existed, right? This Zelda storyline is so complicated. So that's more inspired by like Link to the Past, those kind of games, the older games. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite of the older Zelda games? I know it's hard to kind of pick a favorite.
I would say it's Link to the Past. There's something special about that game. I played it on I think it was a Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
Yeah, the color, that one. I remember me playing it, even my sister was playing it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, well, it's crazy how long Zelda's been going around for. I forget how long that game's been around and still inspiring people. And you guys are no stranger to that. But getting onto it as well, mate, you have got a huge album, big tour with Amaranthi. You're doing Vacan, all that stuff. Any plans of making your way back down to Australia anytime soon? Because you guys, I don't think have been here since 2017, I think was when I last saw you.
Yeah, it has been a while, and we do want to make it down there. And we have had lots of conversations about how we can make it happen. So we're working on it, but we also want to bring the DragonForce show the way you probably might have seen photos of it, that happens in Europe and happen in the US, the full shebang, production. So I don't want to go to Australia and deliver like a half, not something that to the maximum, right, for DragonForce table. So yeah, hopefully we can get as much as the production over to Australia and do a big show,
It's a bit difficult because we're I think from you guys, a 21, 23 hour flight. I know it's a bit of a distance to get all the way down here, but to see the full DragonForce show in Australia would be absolutely killer. Like that would just be unreal, because I've seen the footage of the European tours as well. And it's just it's become a spectacle over the years. You've really kind of put what you're doing in the music and visualized it on stage. Was that something when you were a smaller band you ever thought you'd be able to get up to doing, or is it just over the years keep building and building, and now when you look back at the old days, kind of like, wow, look how far we've come in these 20 odd years?
I think we wanted to do it for a long time. We did have big production, a different kind of big production on Inhuman Rampage and Ultra Beatdown Tour. I think the way the band business part have changed have enabled us to do more what we want to do on stage.
Yeah.
You know, because all this stuff costs a lot of money. So it's about doing the right thing and doing the boring stuff, the improving the business of the band. So you can do kind of fun stuff. You know, you're having the budget to do that kind of production. Now we're there. You know, we got it back to where it is, and we can have some fun again. And when people come to the show, we want them to just forget about anything, you know, sad or something that brings them down, and just have a great time. And it's a show that even if you're not a metal fan and don't know anything about metal, you come to the show, you go, wow, shit, this is crazy. I'm having fun here. This is a spectacle. So, you know, just we're nerds, right? And we're making a show that we want to go to. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to do it, because if you're like, if I was in the crowd, I would enjoy this. I think is the best way to do it, rather than trying to cater to that guy over there, because that guy over there might not have the same personality as that girl over there. So putting out something that you think is enjoyable, I think makes you enjoy it more. And the more we kind of see how happy you guys are performing, the more energy you guys give off to the crowd as well. Because one big thing I've noticed since the pandemic, and I'm not sure if you've picked up on this as well, is that people are just happier to go to concerts these days. People aren't taking it for granted, at least, but me being in the crowd going to a show, everyone's just enjoying themselves. No one cares if someone hits the wrong note occasionally anymore, because it got taken away from us for so long. And just to have it back, I don't know, I just feel like fans aren't taking it for granted anymore. Has this translated? Have you noticed that from the crowds?
You know, our last US tour, which happened like a few months ago, which was the start of this Wildest Warrior tour, it was the most successful US tour we have ever done as a band. Yeah. You know, headlining. So it's definitely people, maybe they've seen too much YouTube, you know, the few years. They want to get out there, have a good time, and just enjoy it. And that's what we deliver, you know, come out, have a good time. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. And it is great to kind of be out there, because, yeah, while YouTube's great and all, it doesn't have the same magic as a live show. But getting back to the album as well, and I wanted to back onto the fun topic you had. I know all the songs, they're a little bit nerdy in every kind of way, but you do have some more kind of serious songs, even a ballad on the album as well. And you got some silly songs like, you know, Doomsday Party. How do you kind of find balancing when you're sitting down there? Because I'm sure you've written several songs and you've got to cut some songs from the album. How do you come about putting that together to go, okay, you know, we're going to put Astro Warrior Anthem here. This is a bit more of the typical DragonForce, a bit more serious, but talking about the sci-fi elements, compared to something like a Doomsday Party, where that song is just pure fun, get out there and dance to it.
You know, to be honest, we didn't really overthink it. We just gotta do it and make it the way you want to make it. Like, you can't overthink it, otherwise then you can't start doubting yourself. It's like then you start losing confidence. Is this the right way to do it? It just ended up that way. I mean, we did have a few songs that we didn't finish, that was kind of half recorded, and a bunch of stupid songs that we wrote back on Twitch a few years ago. Like we made fun of bands that we like. But these are what we think represent DragonForce now the best. You know what I mean? Like the combination of them. And then we didn't really know what the track order is going to be until, like, you know, a couple of weeks before we finished the album. We don't overthink it. It's like that song has to be first. We're writing this to be a first song.
It's probably the best way of doing it as well, because it just feels a bit more natural. Because listening to this album start to finish, I loved it. And it is a good mix of, if you're an older fan of the band, you've definitely got those, you know, 100-mile-an-hour songs on there. You got the fun songs. You got just everything you can kind of groove to. It's kind of like, and dare I say it, almost like a perfect DragonForce album. I think it's one of the best releases you guys have ever done. Well done with that. Now, I did want to bring up, you've got a fantastic cover song on this album. Now, you guys have done some interesting covers in the past, like My Heart Will Go On. Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash took me by surprise. How do you guys come up with the covers? Or is it just a song catches your ear, you start playing it and go, oh, we could turn this into a DragonForce song?
Well, on the last album, Extreme Power, Celine Dion, that was all Sam. You know, he really wanted to do Celine Dion. I said, fine, you know, Celine Dion is cool. Can't argue about that. And for this album, I wanted to do Taylor Swift because I'd listened to so much Taylor Swift the last 4 years, like a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that to happen in my life, but It happened because I had a kid. I had like a daughter. My daughter was born 4 years ago, so I was like choosing music for her to listen to stop the baby crying or keep her busy. So I heard a lot of Taylor Swift, and I really got into it. The songs are really catchy. I really, found the production to be pretty incredible. How the production is done. So I said to Sam, I think we should do this cover of Wildest Dreams by Taylor Swift. He's going, no, come on, you serious? He didn't know Taylor Swift, to be honest. Living in England, he didn't really haven't really heard it. He never heard that song before. And I was able to convince him, and I thought this is going to work, and we played it live on the last tour, and people were just going insane for that song. So it's fun, just add that extra fun element to the album and on stage as well.
It's a nice way to cap off an album as well, because if you didn't look at the track list, like when I first put it on, I didn't look at the track list. It wasn't until it came on, I was like, this is awfully familiar for some reason. And then when I got to the chorus, I was like, oh, it's Taylor, because Taylor's huge in Australia as well. I think she's just massive down here. What's your daughter think of the cover? Is she a fan?
She hasn't heard it, actually. Oh. I haven't played it to her for some reason, so I don't have that album on my phone, right? And every time I go in the car right now, I'm listening to Cars 2 motion picture soundtrack or Cars 3. So we're in a car space at the moment. So we'll get back to that when we, when it's time. Yeah.
Has she caught on to the Australian show Bluey yet? I know that's a big one over in America as well. Has she gone through that phase? If not, I'm sure it will happen soon enough.
We are doing Bluey for sure. Yeah, I've seen a lot of Bluey.
Oh, that's great, mate. And Twitch, I just wanted to touch on that real quickly, because we all know, we go over to YouTube, we see all the YouTube videos, getting on Twitch. How do you feel getting into that to begin with? Because I know some musicians, when they've gone onto Twitch, Matt Heafy's a good example. When he first started, people would stay to just watch the music side of things. But when he wanted to talk about video games or play video games, that's when his stream dropped off. But that changed. Now he keeps the stream the whole way through. And I believe you're doing the same thing. Did you experience that? Guys, stick around. We'll play some video games. We'll kind of get into it a bit more. Or was it just a bit more natural? Because DragonForce, I guess, is a bit synonymous with video games in general.
Funny enough, last week I said, oh, we're going to come back and play some games again. And people go, yes. Is I haven't played enough games because I was making the album.
Yeah.
So I think with DragonForce fans, like you said, we do so much video games. We've done so much collabs, with the games and stuff. There's so many fans of gamers. So it's actually, it's been okay. And we used to do gaming sessions with the fans, like on the channel. We just pick a few and we do like, I don't know, PUBG or something like that. And we're fun. So yeah, I do, I do miss the time playing video games at the moment. This album so I'm thinking I need to get a Steam Deck to go on tour, because I missed so many games the last few months, working on the album and stuff.
Yeah, you never realize when games come out. As I get older, I'm finding like there's so many games have come out in the last couple of months. I'm going, where can I find the time to do it? And I guess working on an album and touring when you're away from home would be almost impossible to sit down. But luckily, you do get things like Nintendo Switch, Steam Decks, and stuff like that. You got anything you're looking forward to streaming on Twitch video game wise, or you haven't made up your mind yet?
I'm going to get back into sim racing. I kind of miss driving as well. So my wife got me this gift, like, I don't know, 2 years ago, to do the Porsche experience, where you go to Porsche and drive a 911 GT3. And it's kind of like, I finally did it like a couple of weeks ago. And I was like, oh, I guess I got to drive my car again. I have like a 911, but I haven't driven it for 4 years barely. I've done like 1,000 miles on it the last 4 years. So it's like, fired me up to do again and play some sim racing and do some more fast stuff. Fast playing, fast driving, It's fun.
It goes hand in hand, so why not? It's perfect reason to do it. But mate, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here as well today. Is there anything you wanted to say to the fans out there, especially the Aussie fans, about the new album? It is out March 15th. I cannot wait for everyone to hear it. You've got some interesting guest stars on as well. I won't say who they are because I don't think they've been released yet, but it's very exciting. I think people are in for some pleasant surprises there as well.
Yeah, you know what? All you guys in Australia, thanks for support. And just, message me. Message on the YouTube. write down where you want us to come and play. Tell us the city. Don't just say Australia. It's a big place, and let us know. The more we hear about it, the more we can tell. We can make this happen. So let us know. Comment. The power of the fans really make a big difference. By the way,
It's the algorithm too. The more people type Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth into that search, it's like, oh well, these numbers do come up when we're searching for a long time. So don't just say Australia. You're right. Tell us, because it is a big country. We've got a lot of ground to cover. So if you want to see DragonForce and you're in Perth, comment, please come to Perth. It's exactly what you got to do. You're 100% right.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for that, mate. You have the best of days. Cannot wait for the new album. Can't wait to see what music videos are in store as well. But until then, you have a great one.
Thank you.
Thank you
for the
mate.
interview.
No, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Great. Cheers, dude.